Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of the Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raf, are these all gold BJJ? All of these cards are gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with you. You can throw it in the wash. Raf, these are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
Well, they're really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait.
Oh, do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
They were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. Anyway, go visit our friends at goldbjj.com.
10,000 hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Elevate your BJJ game with inverted gear, where pandas and performance meet. Whether you train in a gi or prefer no gi, we have something for you. Our gear is built to last and designed to perform no flashy extras, just high-quality craftsmanship and minimal design. Plus, pandas. Don't miss our back-to-school sale going on now. Visit www.invertigeart.com and roll with confidence panda style.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with a great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture of Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour, though, like there's a ghost. And I had a lower third here that would have been for Tim Freeman, but Tim might have forgotten that he is going to Stockton. He's going back to Cali. And somehow when we were putting this together, we were supposed to do the draft today. And clearly that's not going to happen with him being missing. Having said that, you know, I'm fine with him taking time off. It's just the formatting issues, figuring out if he's going to be here for the debate. So a lot of this program that you will see here today is very much going to be a fly by the seat of our pants. So very excited about that. But for right now, I thought I would take a moment to reintroduce you to a friend of ours. And I guess the question I have here, if you see the lower third, it's not. So where did the thing on your face go, sir?
I overshot shaving my beard.
What does that mean?
Had to go.
What do you mean
you've never done that?
It?
You're like you're going up, and then you like nick the side of it, and you're like, all right.
Okay. You know what? When you put in that dire of a situation, clearly there's only one choice.
I don't know, man. Gordon Ryan says he had great generals.
Oh boy.
So
yeah. You know what, dude? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
for real.
The weird part to me is I'm like, I don't know where 100% of that comes from, but it ignited something. And I saw that Ben the Bane basically reposted it, and a lot of people were in on the comment section. And whether or not that is 100% real, the comment section was 100% real and concerning. So I have many issues and problems with that. Nonetheless, our friend Brian Peterson says, you cashed in $50 from your mom. Did you or did you not?
No, absolutely not. This hurt me. This one hurt me. I couldn't accept that money. That mustache is gone, but not forgotten.
The fact that you showed up told me you had invested time into doing this. And then you tell me, a dude who has never been without facial hair, and with good reason, that you're like, what if you overshot it? And I go, then we just get real close. We redo how we do this. We don't make mistakes. So when that happens, I feel for you. Do you feel like a new person without the mustache, sir?
I feel like the mustache is like, I agree with Tim's take, actually. I think it's like +5 to dirtbag. I definitely like, while I've got the mustache, I'm a little grimier. And now I'm back to clean cut. You can take me home to meet mom, you know? Like, I'm absolutely a nice young man.
Okay, yeah. The other guy, he was the skeezy one. This one's
the one that's that him, not me.
Good one.
Not me. I would never.
Can I just tell you, without fully stalking you, I just had a thing. I thought today, I'm like, I don't think he's going to show up with it. I wondered if we had roasted you so hard that I had to put up the asset with you and the mustache. Today, I knew today was the day it had to go up. And I even included a voting ability for it. And you put up on your social media that you were being bullied. So are you sure you didn't just come up with this story like you fell down some stairs? Or is this a real thing that you are going to see all the way through? Because again, it's almost No Shave November, so it could very easily make a return.
I was straight up planning to do Movember and just have the mustache the whole time. That was the name of the game. Me and one of my blue belts were locked in on that mustache life, and then I immediately screwed it up.
Wait, I didn't know there was an implication here. I didn't know that you were going to leave a soldier on the field with facial hair, and that you abandoned him.
I left my boy.
Wow. I'm a little disappointed in you in the fact that, does that blue belt still have his mustache?
Yeah, he's a cop, so I think it's part of the uniform. It's mandatory.
Got it. Okay.
I think if he shaves it, they give him time off. He's got to go home.
One of my favorite things in the world, I used to work at Big Five Sporting Goods, and they had a very weird, this is early 2000s, so they had a very weird rule about facial hair. So I remembered, like, I was off for a couple days, and I had some scruff, and they go, you can't have that. I was like, what do you mean? They go, you have to be clean shaven. I go, to work here? For this minimum paying job? It's a thing that we ask. And I go, okay. With facial hair then, they're like, well, if you have facial hair, then that's fine. I go, but how do you grow it to get facial hair on your face? And they go, no, you have to have it. And I go, no, I clearly understand your insane proposition. But how do you go from not having it to having it? And they didn't have a good enough answer for me. So now that things have changed, I'd be like, this law protects me. But we didn't have that when I was growing up.
It would frustrate me immensely that person, like, I know the exact tone of voice you're talking about, that person is like pretending they don't understand what you're asking. Like, how does one grow a beard without growing a beard? And they're like, nah, you just have to have a beard. Like, no, why are you acting like I'm the crazy one? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I see a note here. Egg says, back to being handsome Kevin. Now, this is where things get weird, Egg. Does facial hair not make you handsome, though? So this is what I don't like. I don't like these accusations here. Was he skeezy? Sure. But nobody said he wasn't skeezy handsome Kevin Sherrill. He was just skeezy handsome Sherrill at the time.
A little bit of Ron Burgundy and a little bit of Joe Dirt going on, and we're not really, it can be whatever.
The other one is, it says he got a contract with the Yankees. Listen, I don't know enough to know if you're pro Yankees or not. But I can tell you one thing. I went to a Rams game yesterday. Shout out my boy Tommy, who told me that they were going to get blown out. They did not. Anyway, when I went, it was something that was interesting because we're such there were a bunch of Vikings fans in attendance. And when they were there, they were very vocal, very like, oh, screw you guys. And as we were walking out, everybody was like, let's go Dodgers. And I go, you know what? Even the Vikings fans are saying this. This is wonderful. So I am in a very good mood. And yes, I do believe Ohtani, if he wants, he can illegal gamble, and I'm okay with it. I have no issues with it.
Do the Yankees not let you have a mustache? Somebody walk that joke back for me.
It's a good question. I just know.
Wallow, explain yourself.
Yeah. I'll come back here and it says someone reset Tim. No, what you should know is for Tim, when I look for these still photos when they're not on the call and I want to do the quick walk around chat, it's very important to me that it looks like the publicity photo we use when someone has died, because at the very least, this is the photo that we'd use on our handout, the pamphlet you go when you go to a funeral, because it's like, man, Tim lived a good life. He was so happy. Oh, good for him. And it says, they even made a Johnny Damon shave. Go Sox. Yankees suck. So you say go Sox when they're not relevant right now. Good to know. Not anything unusual with Egghead from there. It says financial hair. That is very funny. Facial hair is a no-no with the Yankees, and that's why they're trash. So anyways.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
We'll move on. I don't spend my time talking about trash teams right now. We'll go to
I live in Atlanta. All we talk about are trash teams.
Yeah, I mean, you're
have a rough
unoccupied at the moment with things to do, so I understand that. It was a very good LA start day. My only concern is really the traffic. But let's go to the board, and we have set up the board for both myself and for Kevin today. And we do have an important place to start off with, which was this weekend, AIGA had its trials over in Long Beach, over at Thunder Studios. And it was an interesting sort of event. There were 6 teams. And yes, we did preview it last week, but they weren't quite the same teams. So, gotta be honest, they took us for a few surprises here and there. But yes, we were able to watch them, and I was intrigued to hear how we both figured they did. So in this particular venture, I thought it would be a good idea to ask you, Kevin, what really stuck out to you on the winner side from AIGA this weekend?
I had no idea Checkmat was going to do that well by a mile. Like, I was very surprised. I was a little disappointed. The same with the roster changes, because this is a individual sport. I got hype off of certain matchups that I was like, oh man, that's going to be really exciting to see. And then there were some roster changes where it didn't happen. John Calistine didn't make an appearance, and I thought that was going to be so cool. Yeah, that stuck out. As far as performances, I tuned in. I got to be real. I didn't realize Dorian On was that effing big. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about our rankings. I was mostly watching to get a feel for the PGF guys that I hadn't seen really compete against each other. And there was a lot of that going on. And I might have to slide Dory up a little bit. He looked good. He looked solid. So
my issue was, Dory was really good. Dory is going to be, I think, an excellent pace setter for the team because his gas tank is not in question. I think the difficulty of scoring submissions is more the issue that we have. So I feel like he's going to make it to the end of the week. I would say he'll do very well. But I think it's a little bit of a weird phraseology. I think people need to start acting with this team format. They forget, yes, there's 20 great people, but it's always a question of who are you going up against and who's on your team? Because whoever's on your team, you're not facing them throughout the week. And if that's the case, maybe you have a team with some dunkables that you don't get to score up on. And that's where it becomes harder. So I think what you try to do is create an overall average of how do they do against all different types. That's why it's a difficult thing to preview. But the consistency for Dory was he didn't get any submissions. So that one did very much become an issue. And as Egg likes to say, huge, but only one sub in the qualifier. Dory will be good in the fantasy and as a stopper. And I think that is essentially going to be his role. I think you can almost refer to him as an enforcer. Let's call him that. Because in that regard, he is going to be a very, very useful tool to a team that you can plug in if you want to make sure, like in Vegas, you have a cooler that hits the tables that says like, let's cool this guy off. He's a little too hot at the moment.
Yeah, I don't want to put somebody in as a I don't want to put somebody into this box, but I'm going to fucking do it anyways. Nobody wants to be that stopper, but as you pointed out, if you're coming down to your 4th or 5th pick, which is kind of where Dory's hanging around at, he's in that bottom 15 to 20 range of picks right now. Some people have him a little higher. We got yelled at a little bit in the comments over Dory. If he's in that last, round 4 or 5 pick and you snag Dory, that's a guy that's not going to get tapped. And you're picking him instead of a bunch of those guys that maybe are a little easier to tap. A lot of guys around the 15, 16, 17 range are going to have a very bad week. You pick up Dory, you lock him in on your team, he's not giving up points, and your guys get a chance to smash the dunkables.
And I'll be honest, like there's still stuff that we don't know. So if Dory has a week where he just goes out and shows out, that'll be incredible. But I think the longer the week goes on, he'll definitely outperform, but he could have one really solid day. And that could be enough to make that top 8 to go on to the week. So when people are telling us, they're like, you're sleeping on him. And it's like, there's got to be a ranking here. And this is just based off of the numbers he's produced. It's not because it's friendship rankings, because if it was friendship rankings, everybody would have been 1 on my list, except maybe a couple people.
There was somebody that said they listed off 6 names in the bottom 10, and they said every one of those guys deserves to be top 10. And I was like, cool. Where? Who do you move down? Like it's pretty 5, top 6 guys. They're not with these guys. So how the fuck do you put 6 people in there?
Egg did try to put this up, and he said, but remember, it's a random auction format. So what he means by that is normally you go top down, whatever to that fact, and then you auction off of that. In this particular format, it'll cause the teams to figure out a way to be a little more conservative with their money, because you might get the 15th seed coming out first. Then you got to figure out how much are they worth as a 15 seed. You might have the 2 seed come in after that. So it's a matter of trying to balance those things. And that does become important. But by and large, I think the real key to that week is who is it that you're looking to get on your team and how close can you get to that team? And it says if Dory does get a sub, it'll probably be a kill. Yes, very likely he does have back takes. So that is something there. But yeah, throughout that weekend, it was for AIGA, him and Ryan going to a draw perhaps raised more questions for the PGF implications. But while we have a second, it should be good to remind people this weekend you had Adam Bradley, Kyle Chambers, you had Dory, you had, there's like 2 more here, Brayler, and you had, did I say Ryan already? But
did
you had essentially 5 people.
Porfirio get out there?
No, he was not on that weekend.
Dang. I know Fight Sports had a team, but yeah.
Yeah, I think they might have been holding off on him. I think he might have been trying to take the like, let me get out there and show some people out. And we had people telling us that, we weren't ranking Porfirio higher. And in that particular sense, he is somebody that I think can outperform our rankings. I am perfectly willing to accept that. But because it is a new beast into itself, that's something you'll find out day 1. It'll be similar to, I think, a Daniel Sattler, where you go, oh, he very quickly learned this format and did very well. but I do not think most people would know that outright. And people coming from different rule sets, the proof of burden is usually seeing them show out in this, because it is difficult and it is different in that realm. So I would say that, but yeah, I can tell you this, who actually went to the live telecast, some things you didn't see. Well, maybe you did see it. I don't know. I am concerned with the empty amount of seats. Now, I don't know if this is a Thunder Studio thing or an AIGA thing, but they put out near to like 500, 600 seats. I don't know that they sold anywhere near that. In fact, I can tell you it was nowhere close to that. But we're talking a lot of empty seats. And not only empty seats, but not formatted like getting people to be in certain sections. It was just kind of a free-for-all, depending on what ticket you bought. I would like to see that organization going forward just put a little bit more emphasis on marketing, or at the very least, giving some free tickets if you know you didn't sell at the very end, because those empty seats, it's a weird juxtaposition with the amount of money you know you're spending on that venue. And nobody wants to take a loss on that. But I argue you take an even bigger loss not giving your food, your merchants more opportunities to make up extra costs there. So by and large, having people there buying drinks or buying food at least affords you something to brag about. But it was a little disheartening. And it's a concern that I have for a lot of major jiu-jitsu events going forward, which is, you know, the Craig Jones Invitational definitely gave the athletes a well-funded belief that they should be paid more. Totally in favor of that. But this weekend showed that even some big names did not necessarily draw. And you can blame that on a number of different factors, but it was highly concerning. And I think as promoters, it is something that people should keep in mind from their athletes. So there is that. Brayler also looked good. He is also huge, Egg said. A concise comment that I'm sure you can find on Egghead's blog, which I think has analysis. I don't read it. I don't know. I get the Cliff Notes versions of it.
I read his whole rankings and I talked shit to him in his DMs. I was trying to get I was trying to copy his homework, change it up a little bit so the teacher doesn't notice. And there's also a lot of people in the PGF this season that I haven't seen compete a lot. I don't think there's anyone I haven't seen compete, but there's people I haven't seen compete a lot, and he did not help me. Like, bro, I was looking for you to solve this problem for me. I've seen Marcin compete like once. Like, I don't know anything about Brayler. Seen him compete like once or twice. I don't know anything about this guy. You need to tell me.
I'm glad that you admit to wanting to steal the homework here, but is he really the guy you want to steal from when he didn't win his own championship fantasy? Like, I don't know that he's the guy I would go to. You know what I mean? Like, there are other people more knowledgeable and perhaps on this show who outperform the amount of hours he spends watching tape to come in second. He says tied for first, but he's arguing off of points that were part of the PGF, which, seems like inarguable. But I digress. Whatever asterisks you need to tell yourself as a non-championship. Anyway, the belt's coming to me, and I'm very excited for that. But yes, it says the way too early rankings, which, I mean, sure, dude, that's what we have to do here. That's our whole MO, our mojo, if you would. Let's now go to our second topic here. It says good burn rate. Okay, so it'll take me a second here to kind of pull this up freely. But if you guys didn't get the opportunity to watch this weekend, somebody embarrassed themselves in a way that I felt ridiculously uneasy about. At the Euros this weekend, somebody was basically tapping out due to a game of mercy and then went to kick his opponent. So I'm going to first have you give us a little bit of context into this because it's absurd, but it did kind of make me shit-eating grin gleefully happy because when someone does something like this, all I can think of is, I mean, this is kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah, I've seen the video. Skill issue applies for this in about 3 different instances. You're going to tap to a wrist lock, and instead of just quietly losing and having to explain yourself to, your teammates and stuff when you go back, just pretend you didn't compete. I don't know, do whatever. Or say I got tapped to a wrist lock, whatever, it happens. Instead, you make a scene, you flop, you hold your hand, then you throw a kick, fail to land that kick, and then go right back to flopping and holding your hand. Insane.
I think part of it that made me laugh so much, Kev, is the fact that as he did it, there was a moment where you kind of got the sense he was a little desperate to try and make one thing work, and none of them were working. So he just tried like a salad of putting them all together, like, ow, went for the kick, and is like, the dude caught the kick, and he goes, okay, like straight into soccer mode. And then as he's on the ground, is like on the ground, but does that thing where he looks around to see if anybody's like looking.
Anybody notice?
Anybody buying this?
Who's concerned?
Ow. And then you start thinking, you're like, the thing you're saying ow to, sir, is the submission, which is the point of this. And no one wants to lose to this. I get that, but you did. And it's kind of a thing that for us, it lives on in infamy because, I mean, we're just going to make fun of it and we're going to enjoy the clip. So I didn't get to format this. So my apologies if it is not up to your full preferences here. But I just thought to give you guys the full idea of what we're looking at here. Let's first
this is so great.
Bring this up like this. So let's go to this. First and foremost, allow me real quickly to go through this. And this is how you know we have to take it frame by frame. So first things first, you see the mercy, you see him scream. Been there. I've had some people play this game. Wagner Rocha, this is his handbook. And then after this, watch what happens here in just 2 seconds. Time it. 3, 2, ooh. And you would think to yourself, man, that kick might hurt. Actually, no, it doesn't, because it's gone straight into the ability to go for a single leg if he so chooses it. I think what's upsetting here is now the referee then comes in like a fan to just push him down. And at this point, he goes, no, ow, ooh, and goes into the soccer playbook. Now, let's look at this gentleman here. The gentleman who this is happening to looks back like almost like it's The Office trying to find his camera as to say, do you believe what just happened here? Now, let's talk about this extra roll, because to me, nope, roll. Now we've get the official DQ sign, and I think he's putting it together. This may not go. It's the point now of letting him know, no. Hold on. Ow. Look at me. And he's almost pointing like a Spider-Man sort of gesture. Like, I think he's making this like almost to be like, if I can make this go, this would be great. And now points back at him.
I think he's trying to claim that the guy pulled his fingers apart, like grabbed them and twisted them in 2 different directions. And like, maybe people definitely do that. But also, buddy, you threw a round kick. It's over. It doesn't matter. You threw a kick at him. Go home. So
what is he signaling to him here, though, Kevin? Like, what is happening in this exchange here? Because look, this is the one that confuses me. They have a whole-on discussion with each other because it goes from, you know what you did, you slut, to him being like, wait, what? Why me? You know you submitted, dude. We can run this back, I guess. Bro, and now him thinking like, did I just lose all of my money from competing in this?
My favorite is, well, twofold. One, this is the IBJJFs. We have no idea which way this goes. No idea. I've seen someone heel hook someone else in the gi, and then the guy that tapped got disqualified, specifically because they claimed he was only tapping to get the guy who was heel hooking him DQ'd, which, like, yes, that's the rules. But so it's IBJJF. We have no idea what's going to happen. But my favorite part of all this, really, beyond the round kick, beyond everything, is how he keeps doubling over to hold his hand. Like, he keeps, like, bending it the way, oh, my God. Like, I can't stand up straight because, see, perfectly fine. Don't worry about that hand. Now, dang. Oh, God, I'm rolling. It's so painful. And I'm like, man, if you ever had something happen, you've ever broken a finger, it fucking hurts. But what is this? What is this? Like, what is going on? It's like, if you've ever taught a kid's class and the kid gets hurt in some tiny way and now it's a car crash. Like, what are we doing here? Oh, look at my destroyed hand. I'll never play violin again.
So let me point this out to you. A lot of people who play football, other sports probably can relate to this. I remember once I caught a football not the best as a receiver. And then I started looking and I'm like, oh, wait. So there is like a space that is permanently between here that is not here. And this is just something that happens. And I remember the look on my face. I didn't do it outward like, I just remember being like, shit. And then you try popping it and doing it and it does nothing. And you go, oh, great. This is just now what I've grown with.
I think I broke this pinky last week on Thursday. Middle of a roll.
Did you or did you not then do this out loud
double
to somebody
over?
And be like, ow.
Oh my God. I can't stand. And I finished the round and I finished the training session because if you've done contact sports like you're talking about, you've effed up your hands. It's happened. It happens. Even if you're playing soccer, you're gonna part of it. What is this? What is this, sir? We do a combat.
My own enjoyment. I'm just gonna sit back. You can say whatever you want on this, but I just want to see it one more time before we move on.
I love the gym face. You're right. You nail that. He looks over. Dun, 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 dun.
So good.
Amazing. The rolls too. He's in so much agony, man.
You know,
he was ready to scrap until he realized he was going to lose, and then he was in agony.
You know, I think I just thought about it some more. This dude, when he rolls, it's the kind of stuff that you go to a local community theater and they're doing experimental improv, if you would, because
that guy died.
This to me was one time we did a thing with audience participation and we said, you know, they had to do whatever we were yelling out. Like part of the commands were, we yell it out, you act it out. And so we said, all right, this person, they rolled across the floor. And the woman who was the audience member goes, we go, they rolled across the floor. And she goes, oh, right. And literally flew into the air and made 3 turns. And I said, oh my God, this is the first time I've seen something like that. And it was deliriously like the best thing I've seen since physical comedy, since the Jersey Shore. Because now you just get to enjoy the pointing, the Real Housewives of it all, him trying to show you his hand, let you know.
He hits his knees for no reason. I love that.
This is the part that I am concerned about because I thought he put a spell on him here. And perhaps it's just the spooky season of it all. Perhaps it's the Agatha being watched by millions
Jerry
of
has
decent...
established it's possible.
It's just...
There's witchcraft in combat sports. You got to be careful, guys. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
It's so good because then everyone's just confused and doesn't know what to do for the rest of the event. So God bless to all of those people. It does suck that it happened, sir, but thank you for giving
wrist
us.
Locks.
well,
wrist locks suck, man, but you know, maybe don't do all that. Maybe don't call attention to how you got wrist locked.
What I should say is this. Our good friend Byron Peterson, when I did get to roll with him, he caught me with a wrist lock, and I knew he was good at them. So I was like, I wonder if it's going to happen. And he had great ways to put it on. And I think Brian will attest to this as well. When I got caught with it, I just did that reaction where I go, yeah, that sucks. All right, we move on. Of course, I didn't pay $180 to compete against Brian. Maybe I would have pulled the same thing, but now I know what I can get away with when Brian's trying that at me. I know I can make 3 rolls, point to him, put a voodoo curse on him, and then see where the day takes me. So very excited.
Yeah, you
for
win
that.
in the long run. You win in the long run when he walks out to the parking lot and he's got a flat.
I think the worst part is, now that I say it out loud, I think from a evil villain perspective in a movie, it's when you use your best attack on somebody when he kicked him and goes, uh-oh, and then thought, well, right back to this because that didn't do shit. So it was a good attempt here, everybody.
Bro, it's that Dragon Ball Z. You see him blast them with the huge thing. There's the giant smoke cloud, and they're still standing there. And then you got to see Krillin go, oh, I've been maimed. I got to go home.
I do see a note here with AIGA where it said, Kevin pulled a Marcia. Now will never be a hand model. So it is unfortunate parts for him. We are losing more model opportunities as we go. But I think it's time to now make our way to the next topic, which honestly, I thought was more of a Tim topic, but we'll do as best we can here without him. The note we have here is thus. So Brendan Schaub on his podcast decided to make the case why he should have a match against Nate Diaz. They've been going back and forth, but he's not only making the case, he's telling Nate Diaz as a warning, this is why I would destroy you. Now, those of us with memories know there was a very famous no-gi match with Brandon Schaub that is not the best moment in jiu-jitsu. So, Kevin, I ask you, what were your first reactions when you heard of the possibility of a match with Brandon Schaub and Nate Diaz?
Allow strikes. Neither of these guys, the most exciting thing about these guys as fighters is not and never will be their jiu-jitsu. I know Nate Diaz is very good, but we want to watch him, slap some people up. Brendan Schaub hits like a truck. Let's do combat jiu-jitsu. Let's do combat jiu-jitsu in the gi, or not in the gi. I don't care. I don't care about the gi. Let them hit each other. Oh, man. Then maybe the way we make the gi exciting, we just start letting you hit people. If you take grips and you don't let go of those grips for 30 seconds, I get to start hitting you. That's it. Forget advantages. I just start hitting you. No more stall calls. Palm strikes. I think that's the way. Other than that, I feel like Brendan Schaub should be disqualified from jiu-jitsu matches forever if they're not combat jiu-jitsu. I don't know who's lining up to see that after the Paul Harris match. Like I can't blame him, but I don't want Paul Harris on my legs. There's been talk of Paul Harris pulling up. He's friends with some people, and we were told he's actually a very chill roll, and I will never know because I'm not ever rolling with that man.
I have to say this because from my perspective, it's just not something I'm interested in. And I don't know how to say this in any other way other than to point out what I consider the obvious, which is you guys forgot about Metamoris? This was the worst. Listen, Brandon Schaub can go do his own podcast. He seems to have figured out a great niche for himself in that world. He also has a good hook, going out and eating with people at a food truck. That's a wonderful marketing hook for a show. And yes, he's had some opinions that people send to me, and I think to myself, I don't need to see that. It's not really my stuff that I enjoy to watch, but good for him, man. That's awesome. He found an audience. He's cultivated it. And he's even got to do stand-up comedy, but let's forget that because, let's be nice here. If we're talking about Metamoris into itself, he actually went into a press conference. I was there. I was asking questions at that press conference. And he referred to that match as the Schaub shutdown, which was absurd because anybody who watched that match knew it was hot garbage. And I feel like if you give us a match that leaves such a bad taste, and yes, sell it as you need to in the press conference, it just doesn't mean we need to make that mistake again. And we don't need to pay somebody to do it. And there was a pronouncement by Craig Jones, who made an appearance on a Hiro Hawani's show this week, that maybe they'd be interested in it. I'm not interested in it. And yeah, I think Kevin hit a very good point, which is maybe through combat rules, it would be something of interest. But I have to tell you, from its base level, not worth our time, not worth the money. Let them chirp at each other. And when I mean let them chirp at each other, you know the only one who's going to talk about it is Shab, because he has a show. Nate Diaz cannot be bothered with this stuff. Nate Diaz is too busy getting high and enjoying his life. And to be very frank, Nate Diaz's last pay-per-view did not sell spectacularly well. So it would take a Craig Jones Invitational sort of event to pull the best of it. And Craig says he's interested in it, but Craig's interested in everything. So what I would say to you is this. On its own, no. No, thank you. But for my own enjoyment, I have wondered what it would sound like if Nate Diaz was asked about it. So I guess there is a part of me that is willing to entertain a question as if I was being asked. So Kevin, do you have a question for Nate Diaz? And I will see if I can channel him through my inner being to give you the response to this match.
What's your game plan for Schaub?
Okay, so my first and foremost thing was, I said, why you a bitch? Because he's a bitch. And I feel like that's straightforward. And I would get DQ'd, but then my boys would like show up and we like get into a war and I'd be like, fuck this bitch. Yeah, and I'd be on top. I hit him a few times. They break it up. I go, fuck you, bitch. Mostly I just say bitch a lot. You know, that would be a thing. And then
I'm sold on buying the pay-per-view.
Oh shit, I just sold 400 million pay-per-views. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a bad plan. But stuff like this, bad plans have a way of manifesting itself if it goes to a real place. I just don't see the money for it. I see it maybe potentially as a televised market through Showtime, which I think Schaub has some network friends with. But just by and large, two people who are kind of out of the jiu-jitsu game on a regular basis, at least from a heavy competitive standpoint. I know Nate still trains a bunch, but yeah, I just don't know that I would be super interested in it. But you know, somebody who might be interested in it, and it's hard to discern here, somebody named Tim Freeman could very well be interested in a match like that. So I guess I have to say to you, one, Tim Freeman, would you have any interest in seeing Nate Diaz and Brandon Schaub? And if so, why?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me okay? Because I had a mute sign up here. I want to make sure you hear me before I start rattling off my ideas.
We can hear you. And yes, we are getting a very up close and personal look at your goatee. But you were the one, I'm sure, to put on Schaub and Nate Diaz as an entity. So I guess the question I want to come back to you is, why do we need to see this match with those gentlemen?
I would like to see that match, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Brandon Schaub talks a lot of shit, and I think Nate Diaz will buy into it, and they could hype it up and turn it into a really nice match. And I think that Schaub would back down. I actually don't think he would take the fight. If Nate said, okay, we'll do the fight, let's do it, I don't think Schaub would do it. Maybe he would, maybe if it was for enough money, but I think Nate would piece him up. That's my belief. I don't think Schaub is ready for Nate Diaz.
A follow-up question here is, what weight do you think Schaub is at right now?
Schaub is probably at a healthy 240, 250. And how tall is Schaub? I don't know how tall he is.
He is vaguely tall, but it's more like we know Diaz is a very lanky dude. For him, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I do love the fact that now it does seem once in a while from people as a reminder, like, oh, they could have a match. And I'm just not interested until I see Nate Diaz give us some information. And yes, in the comment section, Egghead Warrior said, is Showtime still a thing? Well, Paramount Plus is a thing. And those are the same companies. So it is very possible he could parlay some of those connections. And if you think about it, it is something that would potentially get the interest of a Fight Pass. So it could happen just for my own sake. I just don't see how the financials make sense per se.
No, they cannot do that on Fight Pass. There's no way. There's no way they could do it on Fight Pass. They'd have to do it on like some Jake Paul weird promotion or something, right?
100% correct. Yes. So there is that. Tim, I'm going to go around and kind of advance the board here, but I did want to go to this G and a Gi, and I do want to hit it very quickly before we get to the debate, because I did skip that one over, unfortunately. You mentioned this. Why is it that we need to be aware of Craig Jones competing in the Gi, and what implications, if any, does that have for our world of jiu-jitsu?
Well, deep in my heart, what I'm really hoping is Craig is firing off the opening shot and his takedown of the IBJJF. Let's go. Craig's coming for all of them. Can you imagine if he pulled that off? Now, I don't think that's what he's doing. Would like to see Craig in a gi just for the novelty of seeing it, but I don't want to see gis all the time. Not for watching, having fun on the weekend with my boys and talking smack. I don't want to see two guys pajama wrestle. And you're talking to a guy that pajama wrestled for a long time. I don't hate the gi. It's just not fun to watch. Unless it's lopsided, I'll watch a purple belt beat up a white belt. That's fun to watch. I don't want to see two guys just pull their loincloth the entire match. It's boring, dude.
Copy that. All right. Well, let's go into this as well. We talked about that. We talked about the idea of it. Do you have any interest in seeing the Craig Jones in a gi? And I'll ask that to Kevin.
I agree with Tim. Craig Jones, maybe. I'll put Tynan Dalpert in a gi in a as being there and let him run like the Mortal Kombat, fucking up a bunch of people. Give me that. I'll take Craig Jones doing it too. Let's make CJI, instead of a true bracket, let's make it the Mortal Kombat totem pole of just lopsided mismatches and just see if you can make it through the whole run. You can tap everybody. Sick. We're in. Let's just see if you can make it.
I just felt like when he was teasing that on Ariel, he had a few nuggets, and one of which was Ariel asked him a direct question on, do you know your numbers? It was like, do you know how much you did in terms of views and all that sort of stuff? And Craig's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, motherfucker, yes, you do. I gave it to you. Of course you know what they are. You should know what they are, sir. Thank you. So I would tell you this. I thought we did get a few nuggets. One, he's open to a match with Mo at Karate Combat. He also did seem to mention that, yes, Craig Jones 2 will happen, but he doesn't have any announcement yet. And he was teasing himself in some ADCC apparel, but didn't give any more details about that. So what is Craig hiding right now? Like, what is the announcement that he couldn't talk about? Kevin, I'll ask you first.
Instead of $1 million prize, they will be giving out $1 million in cocaine, and the only entrant in Craig Jones' bracket is hit.
Copy that. Good to know. Tim, do you have any idea what the surprise might be?
It's hard to predict because Craig is a little cagey like that. He's kind of sly. What I hope it is a new promotion called Freak Fights. We could do Craig and a gi. We could do Craig versus Mo. We could do Schaub versus Diaz. We could just lay them all out, have it like every 4 months. Freak Fights 2, Freak Fights 3. I think I might be onto something. Sign me. I'm available. Let's do it. But yeah, I don't know, dude. Who knows? Craig's probably lying. He's just throwing a smoke screen out there. I don't think he's gonna fight Mo, and I don't think he's gonna compete in a gi either.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but I loved him putting the ADCC apparel on as to give our commissioner a heartbeat of believing that he may take it over. But he did say there were some discussions, there were some meetings, but it was vague on what those meetings were. So we'll have to wait and find out. But I do love the idea that even Ariel was like, come on, Craig. you can't tease that and then come on my show. And Craig was like, yes, I can. And it just kind of
Yeah.
ruined that little spot that he had for him there. But I did think to myself, we'll see what happens in this next thing. So let's go to what is our debate format right now. And gentlemen, you did learn last week how to debate. And I will ask this of Tim. Tim, do you mind turning your phone like that? Is that possible? Okay, cool. Because when I go to a full shot of you in a second, it's going to be very... You know, you were in the same
Yes.
pixelation that you were when you're on the show. Like, this isn't much different than the version we see of you in studio.
This is how we discover he just sets his phone up.
It's not just that he sets his phone up, but that his
for
phone
everything.
takes over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least now if you hold it landscape, we'll be able to see all 7 pixels.
Well, gentlemen, with discussion like that, how will you ever get to a true discussion about the best Halloween candy? Of course, kids, next week, Halloween is going to be a major moment for everybody here. So I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to have a civilized debate as to the best types of Halloween candy. And what I would like to do is I'll be starting off here with Tim, who will be making his case for the best Halloween candy. Tim, you have 1 minute on the floor.
Thank you, Raf. I hope you guys can hear me okay. My connection is pretty choppy, but I appreciate being, even though I'm in the car, I'm going to argue this one because this is the slam dunk. This one's easy. The best Halloween candy is Sour Patch Kids. And I'm going to tell you why. One, they last forever. So they are, instead of being salted like jerky, they are sugared like a gift from God. They last forever. You could pop one in your mouth. It's still sour and it's sweet. The kids like it. The adults like it. It's not like candy corn. Candy corn's the kind of thing you eat on accident. It's not like that. It has a definite staying power. It's a very, very good Halloween treat because we know what happens. I just need just a couple more seconds, Your Honor, if I may. I am in a moving vehicle. Um, it lasts forever. And, there's always candy left over. There's always the stray candies. They're like, oh, God, look, there's only Milk Duds left, right? Even if there's Sour Patch Kids left, you're happy. You look in that bag and you go, Sour Patch Kids, I'm happy.
Thank you very much for that, Tim. I did give you some spillover just because you're still in the last century, or at least your connection is. Let's go over to you, Kevin.
I think there's a few contenders that we have to acknowledge their greatness. Obviously, you have Reese's Pieces. They're phenomenal. They're fantastic. M&M's, that's a classic. Obviously, we're going the chocolate route. If you're a huge fan of cutting weight, I know we all love that, love not eating. Jolly Ranchers are going to hold you over all year when you get those. But there is a king. There is a very clear number one, and it's Snickers. Snickers, the one thing it has that no other chocolate bar that I am aware of has there is no other Snickers. There's not M&M's with peanuts. There's no Snickers and peanuts. There's no Reese's bar, king size, there's no variation. Snickers is Snickers. They know they got it right the first time. That's perfection embodied. It turns you into a different person. You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers returns your soul to your body. It is an experience, and you can live on them. They're so hearty. They're so delicious. They're fantastic. It's everything you need, everything you could want in perfect balance. It's not weird like a Milky Way. There's nothing there. I'm going after everybody's favorite candy. Snickers is king. It's perfect. They don't mess with the formula.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask this question knowing what happened the last time I did ask it, and I'm hoping we've made some improvements since then. But Kevin, do you have any cross-examination for Tim at this venture? You have 1 minute on the clock.
Yeah. Tim, do you believe everybody loves sour flavoring?
No.
Do you care about those people?
No.
Do you believe that we... I'm sorry, I have to take a second because I love that answer. Do you believe you can be the best at something without having universal appeal in that thing? If you are trying to dominate and be the overarching number one, can you afford to alienate a large demographic?
Yes.
I would like to treat the witness as hostile, meaning I'm going to get in my car and go fight him.
That's actually allowed. And you know what? He's in a car right now, so it'll be very hard for you to catch up with him.
It's
Do you
gonna
have
be
a
a chase,
closing
yeah.
question for him with your remaining several seconds, sir?
Why don't you love people that don't have it in them for sour foods?
I just don't care. That's got to be a yes or no question, man. Come on now. You're cheating.
Apathy is
Overruled.
not
That was
an
actually
excuse.
hold on. That was enrolled for getting his taste buds. So I'm going to allow it because it was helping him to establish, do you have good taste or bad taste? I'm going to now go back to you, Tim. Tim, you have 1 minute on the clock. And according to Egghead, I can just tell you who I'm in charge of or who I like better because that's how court works with Egghead's court. Anyway, Tim, you now have the ability to do cross-X. Time begins.
Kevin, would you agree that the best most people who watch grappling?
Do I have to answer in a yes or no?
You can
Your
actually object to
Honor?
that if you like. Hold on.
I'd like to object to that.
What grounds?
I am not eating that person.
Relevancy. Got it. Okay. I'm going to actually sustain that. That is going to be good. Next question.
This is a kangaroo court. Okay.
Get to your next
Would
question,
you
sir.
agree? Would you agree that chocolate spoils?
Yes. It spoils me because
Would
it's
you
so
agree?
delicious and great.
Your Honor, I want to strike that comment from the record because it's not necessary. It's extemporaneous bullshit. Can we cut the
You can't.
okay?
Hold on.
And
Extemporaneous
you're
bullshit
through
just
my
means
time,
it came in
dog.
the moment. It doesn't mean anything.
Listen up, dog. Listen up, dog. Would you also agree that there are many people who have a dairy intolerance, a lactose intolerance?
Yeah.
Would you also agree there are many people who have a nut or peanut intolerance, whether it's fantasized in their head or not?
Yes.
So that's all I got to say. If you got a brain in your head, you could already figure out what happened right there.
Interesting. Okay.
Bro, put the noose around his neck, stepped off, dude.
Hold on. Tim, you now have 1 minute to
Kevin.
give your closing arguments.
Go, Kevin.
Please don't kill yourself because I do get concerned we do have to make an appearance at the PGF for a week. So, sir, if you are ready, I would love to hear your closing arguments. Tim, time begins now.
Listen, anybody can go, oh, best candy bar. What one do I think of? Snickers. What Snickers has is the best branding. That's why they're top of mind. They're not the best candy bar. We all know that. It has a limited utility. You're not going to keep eating Snickers over and over and over again. You open up a whole damn jumbo pack before you know it. It's that good. That's why you want it. It lasts forever. Snickers, greatest of all time, maybe. But you know what? If most of the people like what you're doing, then you're probably doing it wrong. You've all heard of 80-20. The top people in the world are hated by most people because they're doing it right. You need to listen to me and follow that example. Don't listen to Kevin. He's trying to fool you with good looks and handsome hair. He shaved off the dirtbag stash. He knows because he lost last week in court, so he's coming back this week. Don't be fooled by that. Don't pay no attention to that. Pop open a pack of Sour Patch Kids and tell me what you think. I rest my case. That's all I got to say. Give me the win. Where do I get the bag? I'm ready to go. I'm getting on the plane. I'm heading to the West Coast. Let's go.
Copy that. Kevin, you now have 1 minute of closing statements to make. Time begins.
If your child is trick-or-treating and they are given a Sour Patch Kid, you need to inform them that it is okay to egg that house. If you give me all 5 calories of a Sour Patch Kid, I'm going to be irate. You give me a Snickers bar, That's a meal. You give me 7 Snickers bars, I'm fed. I'm good. That's dinner for the week. Chilling. Great. Fantastic. Doesn't get any better. We don't address lactose intolerance and peanut allergies in this household because we aren't maligned by that sort of evolutionary weakness. It's not our fault, you know. That's not something we have to deal with. If you're doing life on hard mode, sorry. That's it. That's where that ends. I apologize that you can't experience what we all get to, which is the incredible, fantastic time that is a Snickers bar. All right. The only thing better than Snickers when you're in them. That's it. Closing
This
statement.
guy wants your kids to do drugs.
Just the cool drugs. Worth noting, I'm gonna put my phone number up, and if you find any houses that are giving out candy with steroids in them, I'm gonna get those off the street because those are dangerous.
Dude, yeah. TRT and Ozempic. That's the new stack, dude.
Yes, that's what people are giving away to children. That's what we need to be concerned about. Gentlemen, allow me to go
DRT
through
in the Snickers.
allow me to go through your overall arguments for today. I want to congratulate both of you for actually getting through a decent, good round. Who knew that I just had to take it out of the realm of jiu-jitsu to speak to two jiu-jitsu hosts? But it seems like you both come from a place of speaking from knowledge. Tim, you making the case for, admittedly, my favorite candy growing up was already very much in the pocket for arguments that I know and understand. Kevin, you coming in for a later day appreciative candy in my life, also very solid. So you guys picked 2 good candies. I can commend you both for that. Some dropped arguments I should point out here. Kevin, from your side, how did you not bring up the sugar rush and crash that you have when you have a Sour Patch? Because that is something that we need to address. Yes, it's good for a little bit there, but that's really the starter program to getting people addicted to Monster energy drinks. So could have been a huge opportunity for you. And don't forget the dives.
Halloween, dog.
Oh, fuck your Halloween, dude. I'm talking about the well to not interrupt the judge as he gives his ruling. You know what? Just because of that, Kevin, you won. That's it.
I knew it.
Legitimately, you just interrupted me and you didn't allow me to get to my actual ruling. Thus, you lose. So, Kevin,
Well,
do you have any words? Do you have any words that you would like to say to your opponent now that he has unfortunately taken an L this week?
I'm the best lawyer I know.
Can I point this out? I sent the video before I put it out to everybody. I sent it to Paul and I said, come get your guy. And Paul Ardea sent me a note and he goes, I thought based on the arguments that Kevin won last week. And I said, oh, sweet sunshine. I now understand how easy it is to practice law in Georgia. I didn't know that until now. Anyway. Good
I don't know.
work
I believe him. They're extremely successful lawyers. I don't know.
in Georgia. Yes, I get that. They'd be like, are you a peach? All right, we're going to give you a little bit of something special today. Okay,
To be fair,
you a little snug bug. We're going to give you this law.
You got to remember, they're both brown.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying, it can't be easy.
Yeah, of course. Yes, to the other very different brown person on this call.
Can I
Go
ask
ahead.
a question real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Who were you gonna give it to though? And I also have to make a confession. I have a Snickers bar in my backpack that I just picked up at Walgreens.
I was actually going to say, I was about to ask you, Tim, as part of your disclosure, I was going to say, how do you not acknowledge the fact that a dropped argument from him was when you go to a gas station, how do you not get a Snickers? You know, like I would have been trying to play some defense on that. I'm being like, dude, nobody picks up a Sour Patch when they're going on a long trip. The versatility of it. But you did knock some of his arguments down very nicely, and I did appreciate that. Your cross-ex, perhaps your strongest element of your argumentation. So that's going to be something that we have to work on with Kevin. You know, and Kevin, full disclosure, I hear you arguing for Snickers, but I don't feel you arguing for Snickers. That's what I want to see from you in the future.
Full disclosure, my heart's with Reese's Cups.
What
I love Snickers, but Reese's are the way to go.
I thought that it was Halloween candy, best Halloween candy.
Yeah, I thought it
You
was
got to have
thematic.
sugar for Halloween candy, right? It's
There's
got to be
sugar in
sugar
Snickers.
based.
You know,
I got to
Yeah,
flow
sugar
to
in
the
Snickers.
appeals court.
but I
I'm
also
a
think
chocolate guy. I feel like
I also think
chocolate
that
base.
it's very important that you make the following argument, and I didn't hear it from either of you, which is if you're a father going through your kid's candy, what are you stealing first? And I feel
That's a
like
good one.
you would have had a solid opportunity to argue that for a Snickers rather than a Sour Patch, because I think
Yeah.
once you get to a certain age, that ship sails. And I had a friend, we were so tight, like that was our candy. And whenever we used to eat it, we'd get a huge sugar rush that we would fight over, literally fight over who got the Sour Patch for all $1.90 of it. And when I was a kid, I actually ran a candy ring and sold it at a profit. And then the school shut me down. And that taught me a little bit about the government very early in my age. So
Hey guys, I got a jam, man. I'm sorry that I couldn't join the whole time, but thank you. That was awesome. Kevin, congratulations. Your Honor, I'm sorry I interrupted. Next time, I'm going to zip it.
thank you, counselor. I appreciate you learning. And this is really what we do here in this court. Tim, fly safely and give your best to all of your students over in Stockton, sir.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
Peace, bro.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was entertaining to me, so that's good. I
thought we might do worst candy, but we're both going to land in the same place, candy corn.
You know, I think the part that
Who is eating it?
The part that I wanted to differentiate from last week to this week was making it more open-ended, because I wanted to see what you guys could creatively come up with. And so when you're sitting there and you're like, gotta be honest, Reese's Pieces are my candy, I go, you could have argued that. No one was holding you back.
There's no way I get through a segment There's no way I get through a segment arguing for eating Reese's, and that doesn't end up, I don't say something that ends up getting clipped and replayed in the group chat forever. I can't do that with Baby Goose's name being Reese. It's no way. I'll stumble.
Okay, fair
he'll
enough.
hit me with a pause. He'll turn me into a meme. I can't do it. That's the real reason I didn't argue for Reese's. That is the actual reason. I was like,
That's a
it's too
very
risky.
sad thing, by the way. And like, I say this as somebody who would be Matt Curtis. He's like, I like meat. And he goes, all right, I'm going to cut that. And I go, you're a child. Manny C said there is a Snicker peanut butter, a Snickers almond. There are actually 11 variations. That's very good. And then, of
I don't know
course,
any of those, so they
Egghead
don't
coming
exist.
in and continuing on the Bubba Gump shrimp-esque. There's butterscotch Snickers and pumpkin Snickers and PB squared Snickers. So there was one thing that he did mention here that was actually, he was accurate. Reese's is the favorite of Egghead, in case you were wondering. Not my favorite. I'm not a huge peanut butter person, honestly. So not quite my thing, but he said Raph prefers Kit Kats. And that is 100% direct quote. If I see a Kit Kat bag, I'm in that. But I've gotten better as I've gotten older. And I do have an appreciation even now for Twix that I didn't have as a child. So I can give props to other candies. But I remember being really mad when I didn't like it. Dude, one of my sister's boyfriends came to the house and like tried to impress me and like gave me a candy bar. And he was like, here you go. I brought you something. I was like, all right, ooh, it's a Twix. He's not good. I don't like this guy. So it was like all of 6 being like, he's got to go. So it says, wow, Kevin's treat could be isolating entire schools of children. So that is a actual harm. Yes, that is possible. And it says what? Knowing 2 black belt attorneys and an actual judge? Cray cray. I mean, that is true.
I said what I said.
Wow. That is intense. So we will have to visit that later. So we got to that. I do want to get to this because now we're going to move a little bit further down the way. And this was something we alluded to a little bit earlier, which is that this upcoming season of the PGF has been previewed by, of all people, the commish himself, who is warning us, letting us know that this might be the lowest scoring season of all time. So my question to you, Kevin, is not only why is that true, but do you think that's going to become a reality? And if so, why?
No shot.
No shot. Okay.
No shot.
Why in particular, in your opinion, is there no shot at it being the lowest scoring season?
Yeah, when he said that, he kind of dropped it in the middle of, I don't remember what the context was, but he was on a tear. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, this is an opinion. You can just keep it running. But I made that mental note in my head. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. if you look at the top performers this season, they're very dangerous leg lockers. They're all going to shoot out with each other. Then you look at the bottom half, and it's a lot of bangers. Like a lot of guys that run the pace up. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting seasons. And I think we're going to see a ton of scoring. I don't think we're going to see the same problem we had last season, which is, frankly, there was just such a depth of fucking talent and a whole lot of people that play positional jiu-jitsu that are very dominant positionally. It came right after ADCC trials, so people were practicing that rule set for a while, whereas now we've kind of shifted back into sub-only season. So, like, I think we're going to bring people in. I think we have brought people in that are shooters. Paul Ardea has like an 80% finish rate at West Coast trials. Ryan Aiken is a submission hunter. Straight up just goes for the kill. Kyle Bain has said that's all he knows how to do, and that's accurate. You've got Chris Wojcik, who's a monster on the legs. It's a whole bunch of people that it's the equivalent of having 20 boxers, and all of them want to get in the pocket, and the top 8 are really, there's going to be knockouts. It's the same thing here. You've got a bunch of shooters. You've got a bunch of people that are willing to shoot. We're going to see a ton of finishes this year.
I'm intrigued as a numbers guy. And see, I didn't know this about you, Kevin. I didn't know that you yourself were also a numbers person, but you have admitted as such to me, and I'm fascinated by that. So let's do an average, because last season was actually not as high scoring as many people would be led to believe. So what on average do you think will need to be the score you get to make it to the top 8?
Man, that's a good one. What was it last year? What did it end up being? What was the break point?
Let's
right?
double check with
like
Egg,
around
but I
10
felt because it was so close, it ended up being in like the 12 to 14 region.
Yeah.
And then with team points, it ended up maybe bumping up a little bit more. But I remembered that one of the through parts on the Grapplers documentary was that Matt Elkins saw it as a possibility that he could make it in with one kill. So yeah. It takes a second, but I had written all of these scores down way back in the day. But I'm intrigued to hear what just off base, because if we're talking low scores, I don't think that's a
16.
huge amount of scores last year.
I think 16.
16 is going to be the entry?
Yeah, I think 16 points gets you the 8 seed.
Interesting.
Yeah, you know, I think if you score, it's easier to do it this way, right? I think 13 points means you're not in the playoffs. There's a little bit of wiggle room there, but I think 13 points means you're not in the playoffs. Book it. We'll revisit this. We'll take a look.
At 15 points. So what ended up coming to, team points. This is where I got confused. Okay. So off of this last season, the top 8, the number 8 spot was Canuto, and he had 19 points with team points. Without team points, according to Egg, would be just fine. Was 14.
Let's do without. Yeah.
Well, without points, Canuto, I don't believe he would have been in the top 8.
I think you have to go without points because we don't know where anybody's going to end up, right? Those are guaranteed points that get given out every season.
Or do you not? A true statistician would make predictions and understand that. So we do have a question here. Hold on. And it says 4 kills for sure. Now, Wallow's trying to be, I think he's trying to get a little bit of insight here. For a guy who hosts a show called the PGF
4
Insiders.
kills is 24 points, my boy. Of course you're in if you get 4 kills.
But Wallow J is trying to get some information out of the non-insider show. Perhaps maybe to show back to his show and be there. I almost feel like that's a super chat question. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have to. I'm just letting you know that that's something that maybe I keep that close to the vest. We don't know.
Yeah, we're doing a draft next week, so I'm not answering that question.
Everybody's gotten a little bit tighter because today was supposed to be the draft. And of course, Tim forgot. So as a result, all of us are sitting here like, I don't know. What do you feel about next week? Do you feel like you could pick the right people? Kevin, a big stats guy all of a sudden?
I think I'm going to smoke all you guys. I think when we pick,
I think
I'm gonna smoke you guys.
I don't think you're prepared to make the big boy decisions that you need to make because you were too busy being the guy last year. And yeah, maybe you didn't rank high on ours. And maybe that's why you're coming with such fire on ours. But to come on this show and to tell us that you're going to smoke all of us when you're talking to the champion, you saw what I did to Tim. And that you were only the winner by default. So I just want to point this out to you, sir. Tread lightly, tread carefully when addressing your champion, sir.
I saw your guys' rankings. It's too late.
It's not even.
I have enough information. I'm gonna smash.
You know what the funny part is? You know what I want you to know, and that's the beautiful part about running the rankings. Because it's like, oh no, Raf's giving his rankings. Did I? Or did I just give you what I wanted you to know?
Man, journalistic integrity just doesn't exist in this era.
Journalistic integrity. I'm so sorry. I have a reputation to keep here, which is I have all these goons who will go up to me and talk shit to me that I didn't pick them on their teams, who are the homies. And it'll be like, you didn't pick me. And I'm like, mm-hmm. But I was right.
I can't wait.
So
I can't wait.
Just saying. But I do like the fact that now that you're on the other side of this world, you're kind of sitting here being like, oh, I can't wait. Oh, yeah. This is where I get my competition in. Wallow J says, we already did our rankings and draft. You did, and I saw it. And I mean, But what I would say to you, Wallow, is this. I wonder if there's still trade opportunities. Because that's an unforeseen area of this world. We don't know if you can do trades in this world. Because they can do trades
yes, you can.
In the PGF, but can you do it in fantasy? And if not, does that happen? It says, are you guys straight up going by wins and losses or fantasy points? So we'll be going by fantasy points. And I think this year it's also with the extra element of letting it play out with the mount or the takedowns, which I think significantly change how you have strategies for this particular game.
Yeah, that's dramatic. Suddenly, Andy Varela is a monster. Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude,
like go back to last season, you're like, holy crap! Him, PJ, suddenly they're great picks. Whereas like they were still good picks, but not they didn't live up to their points expectations. Either of them.
I clipped that part to send to Andy real quick.
Hey man, it's not his fault, but I had Andy and PJ as top 2, and they didn't end up in the top 2.
Yep, amateur mistakes.
And Andy's straight up. He's gonna be. It's not like I helped him score team points either.
I do love the fact that for a week everybody is not who they are normally, but given like once it's all said and done and they come back down to earth, they're just kind of like, yeah, okay, cool. But I do remember Andy Varela needed to use a charger, and I remembered because he was on my team, I was like, I have a charger for you. And he goes, yeah. I go, yep, just you, because you're on my team. And you know what? I could use a few more points. So, and it says, only my way too early rankings. You know, we need to figure that part out. It says mount, takedowns, and back points. So I'm assuming also here, now that I'm thinking out this out loud, who is the person calculating those? Whoever would be tasked with that responsibility.
I'll
Do
tell
we
you
know
what.
and trust that person, I guess, is a question. So we'll have to come and address that a little bit later. But for right now, I think it's time for us to go to your favorite, my favorite. We need to analyze this fight. And I feel like we already kind of got a little bit of a fight feel a little bit earlier. But Tim was very kind in giving us this fight. So I have not fully watched this fight. This will be our first view together. But in the very quick scan I did of it, Kevin, I think we're in for something very entertaining. I take you now to the scene outside of a bar where obviously only good choices can happen. And we begin outside of this bar where this gentleman comes in, guns a-blazing. And no, this isn't Singing in the Rain, but there's a post that he's going to twirl around. And now they go straight into this Tesla and they say, excuse me, sir, block this man. And as Curtis gets out there, he basically starts getting things. And I didn't notice the dude with the fanny pack over here a little bit earlier, but he gets his hat knocked off and takes one for the team. Oh no, he's tripped and he's fell. And I think was he tased? Oh, good Lord. This broke bad very quickly. Yeah, I think that dude definitely got tased. So this is what I have for you. Kevin, I'm going to allow you the opportunity to walk us through your initial read of this one, going in 3, 2.
Well, clearly everybody's having a great time right here. I like that technique. Did you notice green pants? Can we scroll back a little bit?
Yeah.
We slide back and do this. All right, let's watch green pants. Right? Green pants, black shirt. Watch this happen. He's not, no, a little bit further. He's not initially involved. And then he lands. Look at this. He circles around, chilling, hands down by his side like he's not going. He's going to pop this guy and then a couple shots and then takes off. Give it a couple seconds. He's 20 feet away, not involved anymore. That man is the MVP. That is a pro. So now we've got the scuffle in the middle of the street. Green pants is still just chilling. He's sitting by the bystanders. Oh, I love the fucking pride kicks. That's crazy. Ground and pound's wild. Man gets back up. Find the jaw on this gentleman. Oh, bro. He's down.
Gets me every time. Oh,
Dude, did we see Green Pants make an appearance and an exit again?
Yes. He knew he didn't want to stay for long on this one. He knew he had to get out.
Look at this. He's in the background. I imagine he landed a couple extra shots. Yep. Look at that. He sneaked somebody else. And then he exits when the cops come. That dude's a pro. That's James Bond. That's Jason Bourne right there.
That is not his first fight rodeo, honestly.
For sure.
Let me walk you through just a couple little highlights I found on my second viewing, if you would, because I don't think anybody has talked enough about this one. All right. Obviously, Green Pants, great call on that. But I need you to keep eyes on the woman who just got her food and is wearing a sash and a tiara, who somehow makes it out the cleanest I've ever seen, but cannot be bothered and still is eating. Like, legitimately is moseying like
dude,
a
that
character.
Tesla's in motion.
It is poetic how she does not take a hit and is about to put away some of the food. So props to her first and foremost. But as we come back here, yeah, that dude came in swinging. He had some issues. But let's look around to how many people want to get involved here. So I'm seeing about, 6, 7 people who want hands. Okay?
Yep.
Now, look at this girl who tells the dude, you're not getting involved. You are not allowed to fight today, young man.
I didn't even peep that.
Nope. She has a moment with him where she just goes, whatever you thought you were going to do, nope.
She saw him do the Dustin Poirier, pull his shorts up, and just put the hand on his chest and
And so the fact that this dude has his Crone Gracie fanny pack on, you would think maybe he's a no-gi guy. He's ready to go out with the boys and have a good night out. And he's trying to restrain the biggest dude there possible who's already inflicted some damage. But that kick, these two kicks are impressive because they put that dude in the beige out. And
then he pops back up.
Look at the dude who's got the fanny pack. He now is rallying support from the dude who was not allowed to fight 2 seconds earlier, who I guess got the approval within those few seconds and says, go get him. Let's form together like Voltron. And listen, dude, when this popped off his head, it is a magic kind of hit that only happens in the movies. And they were able to recreate it beautifully. I have to ask you this, Kevin, as a coach, can you walk me through Fanny Pack's striking ability when he comes in with this? Because this dude not only doesn't have form to his punch, but actually fell as a result of it. Watch. He comes in on the side, so it looks like he's jabbing him with some sort of needle. But then as a result of that hit, not even from the big dude, falls back. And that's when the police go, you know what, this dude can't fight. We need to tase this dude.
Yeah, when they tell you to sit on your punches, they don't mean sit.
And by the way, this dude coming up and putting up his hands like this is the ultimate, what did I do enough to get pride kicked in the face? This is America, I thought. No. And then this dude is just out. So I have to think.
I can't read the backs of these officers because this is giving some interesting vibes. And I'm going to be real. This feels like Atlanta. It's not Atlanta, because those aren't Atlanta streets, but it feels very Atlanta.
Yeah, it's tough. And, you know, now that Tim is based and regioned out of the Nashville, if you would, part of me was like, where did he? It's not Nashville, is it? Where did our man find this gloriousness? So very happy for that one. Thank you, Tim. And we will conclude with 2 quotations here that we did get for the gallery. Now, these are normally civilians that we take, people who say some shit on the internet. But these are actually coming to us from the PGF itself. And I think they're worth analyzing because I've seen some people talking about it. So let's bring the first one to light here, which is one from Kyle Bame, who wrote out, "I'm a fucking killer. All I know how to do is finish people." I'll ask for your reaction to that.
Not even a little bit of a pause. Are we still doing phrasing? Is that a thing?
You know, the way you put that out there, yes, I do feel that is something we should consider. But it was said by Kyle immediately after his win. And some people said it caught them off guard. It didn't necessarily catch me off guard. What read you when you kind of heard that in that comment?
I was standing right there when he said it. I was standing about 8 feet away when he said that into the camera. And you'll notice that joke I just made didn't make it. Can't hear it on camera. There's a reason for that. That's a large gentleman. Yeah, straight up. I'm right there. I heard him say it, and I was like, pause. In my head. Scary guy.
He's a big dude and competes
Large
incredibly
gentleman.
well. All right. Here's another one that got said, and this is by Andre Porforio, and it says, "I will not respect anyone. I'm going there for this money."
Andre, I'm the only one that's got you ranked in the top 10. I hope you end up on the team with my homies, and I hope y'all all get that money.
Fair enough. I like that
I'm the
you
only
make
rankings
the
I've seen.
appeal to them like that matters. I think one thing that I recognized is that I knew it shouldn't matter, so I tried to treat it as such, but it did matter to them. So what I'm saying to you is, you putting that energy out there will only do a reverse, and they'll be like, dude, I don't care if you think my homies didn't rank you. I don't. No, thank you, though. Thanks. That's nice. So just wanted to give you some early insight as somebody who's been doing this for a while.
I don't think I want to really have many interactions with people that do think my rankings matter. I talked to Paul in advance. I was like, hey, bro, is it going to, is it going to piss you off if I don't rank you first? And he laughed and was like, I don't fucking care. And I'm like, yeah, see, that's the response. That's why we can have, if you take yourself seriously enough that I can't rank you below first, I don't think I want to hang out with you very much.
I like the idea of, if I can't rank you 10th, can I actually hang out with you in real life?
I have been ranked 20th. So let's all calm down. And I think I can rank
we
anybody.
ranked you?
I don't think you guys did. Did you?
I don't know. I know you were a late.
You guys did
addition.
rankings, but I think I was like, yeah, they were. I was like the last 2 weeks, so I think the rankings already came out.
Yeah, maybe.
Kyron Gracie.
Yeah.
So I just took his spot, and he was 20th.
I think we just put you as 21, just probably as a gag anyway. So I think this checks out. I would point this out, and a couple last notes here from Egghead where it says, Kyle's going to score a lot, can't run from his game with the stalling rules in the PGF. That is true. That is going to help him a lot. And
I bet you can.
Don't do that. We know someone will find a way to make this an issue, and
where there's a will, there's a way.
Egghead also put, we're getting an outside scorer. Already
That's
anticipated that issue. Interesting. Why would we need
a stats recorder?
Outside scorer if stats were just stats? But I get it. I'll record the stats, but someone else will make the calls on what are takedowns, back points, and mount. Okay, so it's going to take a while for the points to go up. Got it. All right. Well, it's good to know. So I feel like we made it through the whole board. It is now time for us to plug our last stuff. So Kevin, tell the people where they can find you, where they can see you, all of that jazz, sir.
Yeah, come find me at Kevin Grapples on Instagram. Come train with me at American Top Team Lima or Superfly in Decatur, which is in Atlanta, not the same Decatur that BMAC's from. Ours is cooler and has more coffee shops.
Wow. My man is...
Yeah, I know. I just made a bunch of enemies. I
You're
actually really
just,
like
like,
Decatur, Alabama.
It's
I'm
really
just
silly
being mean for...
how much you are coming into this with just aggression, and you've already been like, I'm going to beat you all. And I was like, okay, sure, kid. And then
I
you're
don't
like,
even dislike Decatur, Alabama. I actually really think it's a cool place. That's the space my head goes to.
just automatic heel. No matter what closing you've got, you're like, oh, nope, sorry, fuck you guys. I don't know why. Oh, shit, I even forgot why. So
yeah, now I hate Sour Patch Kids for some reason. Those are ops. I don't know.
I will tell you, though, it is lucky that you know, Tim did that.
Tim interrupted you?
It was close because he wanted to know as he was signing off. He was like, hold on, before I get on this plane, I got to know how I did.
Is it luck if the other quarterback throws an interception, or am I the better quarterback?
Actually saying before you say it. I think that's the question I have. So when I process it, I go, okay, kid thinks he's really clever with this one. In this variation, if Tim had shut his mouth, I guess we'll never know. We'll see.
I guess we'll never know.
That's the real response. So when you're sitting here being like, I've got this in the bag, and you go, au contraire, my son. So much to learn. But you guys did great. So I appreciate you guys. All right. Thanks to you, sir. My appreciation to all of you guys for watching this week. It has been a great installment of the Bullpen. Reminder, next week is our penultimate episode before we go to the PGF Season 7, which, by the way, as a reminder, is going to start on November 3rd. Your boys here, myself, Kevin, Tim, we are going to be your pre- and post-show team, so we will be walking you through that entire week, and I have just got it on good authority that we will have a pre- and a post-show on the very first day. So we will actually be the first things you see for the PGF season. We will do the draft, and then it'll come right back to us for some analysis and breakdown of who got the best teams, what the rules are at play, and why it is you need to tune in that week. So we'll be walking you through all the who, what, where, when, whys, and all of the information that you needed to know. So in addition to that, check us out, grapplinghour.com. You can also go to patreon.com/grapplinghour. Give us $5 a month. See the interviews 30 days before anybody else. We have some with Sebastian Attard, who's going to be in the PGF Season 7. We did one with Dory Allen. We also did one with some of these other guys. Braylor Grout was a recent interview that we've done. So just booked up right in the middle of this interview. We will be doing a follow-up with the PGF Season 6er, UFC Fight Pass Invitational 8 performance. So lots on the docket. Ladies and gents, that is going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour and inside BJJ at the Bullpen. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.